Hello, folks. Yeah, it's. I think like we did a late start today, but yeah, I'm still here, not going anywhere. So yeah, let's start. I think today is going to be a relatively short stream, and then we'll be tackling a couple of scenarios, primarily handling the Pong messages, and then also like doing a little bit of refactoring on our way as well. Right, so I've started the application here. Although I didn't see a Pong message yet, but I think like we don't handle those kind of messages, at least through the stream UI. I think those. Okay, let me just like check if this is working. So yeah, that's working fine. Why doesn't it show up on the chat screen though? I don't know. Is it because it's black in background, or is it something else? I don't know. Okay, I think we'll figure it out. Ideally it should show the messages on chat, but okay, let's try one more. Yeah, it's not showing up. That's weird. I'm not sure what's up with the Streamlabs chat, but yeah, I'll see. I'll look into it. Meanwhile, I think like the Twitch chat is always there, so that can be used. Okay, cool. So let's close this, and then let me open. Like we are doing logs, right? Like from the last stream, we figured out that we can do logs. So this is logs for today. So yeah, this message did come in, and then apparently there was a message from Stream Elements as well. So this message came in. All it says is like ping, and then it has this tmi.twitch.tv. So this is something we have to parse and send back a Pong. I don't know, like is it a Pong that we send back as a private message or something else, but yeah, let's figure it out. So the first thing would be to open up the Twitch IRC documentation. Yeah, let's see. So here's Twitch IRC. Now we want to look at the Pong messages. There's no mention of that, at least on this page. So let's make this bigger and let's see. Maybe it's under commands. So if I search for Pong, nothing shows up. That's weird. Yeah, I thought it was on one of these pages, unless I'm remembering it wrong. Let's look at command, unless I've already looked at it. Yeah, it might be on this one. No, okay, not even on this one. How about message dash id tag? I don't remember looking at this one then either. Yeah, it was there on one of these pages where we had I think the login, like where you use pass and join and all of those things. Yeah, maybe this page has it, and because this has all the pass, nickname and join. So yeah, I think like it is related to this, right? Oh yeah, here we see. So about every 5 minutes the server will send you a ping message to ensure that your connection to the server is not prematurely terminated. Reply with a Pong and then this thing. Okay, so I think like we just send it back. My only thing is that, do we just send back this to the connection? I think like that is the case. Yeah, let's try it out. I'm not sure like what happens in case we don't, unless like it might sort of assume that the server is disconnected, I guess. If the connection fails for any reason, you will be disconnected. Okay, yeah, that is what will happen. Okay, so all we have to do is let's open the main file in the main.go. Okay, so this is our init file, right? So here we create the logs directory in case it doesn't exist, right? Yeah, we just create a directory, right? So that's fine. Then here in this case we are opening a file within the logs directory called named by the current date, right? So in case it's the same date, it will just append to it, I guess. Yeah, here we do a append, create, and so this does the same thing. Like in case the file doesn't exist, it will just create it. In case it exists, it will just append to it. So that's fine. Then we loop over all the messages that we are getting. Some of them we'll store in the file, others we'll just parse and put them in a parse channel, right? So I think this bit of logic is something I wanted to refactor, or at least sort of move it out of here, because like the main as such should be relatively just calling a few methods from certain packages, and that's pretty much it. Okay, but yeah, before we get to the refactoring, let's implement the Pong. I think we parse messages, right? So I think like we can look at it there. So when we parse messages, we can sort of return back multiple channels is what I'm thinking. So if I go to parse messages, although like here we are taking in a channel and then sort of putting in values onto that, this sort of acts like a sort of a central communication system where sort of like all the messages comes in and it routes to the other places. So it can be like to the screen or to the file, the log file that we store, or it can be somewhere else. Like in our case, like filtering out a Pong message and sending it back to the connection, all of that, right? So that said, just give me a second. Yeah, okay, cool. So coming back over here, so in this case, let's first of all, I think like before we run the regex, right, this whole thing by the way should be a function in itself, like where we sort of filter out private messages and then put them on a parse channel, right? So it actually should be called like a private message channel, right? Something like that. But here we get a message, right? And then I think all we can do is like we can just do like a strings dot has prefix, and this would be called ping. I think like that should be sufficient. And we can do like a if condition here. So if this actually doesn't sort of has access to connection, right? Here we don't have the access to connection in this case. It says few arguments. Does it? Oh, okay, yeah. So we have to pass it the message, which is the message msg. I think it should be fine now. But yeah, so like if we get a message, a ping message, how do we deal with that, right? Like because we don't have access to connection. So I think like we'll take in a connection here. We'll go back to main. Let's make this big. Right, so in the main file, what we need here is the connection when we call the parse message, right? Although like we are getting back the messages. Yeah, I think like it's actually better if there is something to parse messages and there's another thing to sort of forward those messages. Like there should be a something else, some other package that deals with passing messages around. So let's see how we can deal with that. What would that be in this case? I think that's part of refactoring. Let me not overthink it right now. Let me just address this problem currently. Okay, so let's pass temporarily, just pass it the connection and not worry too much about it, right? So this will just take in a IO writer, which is the net connection. So we'll just do a IO writer, right? So this takes in a IO writer, and then if this has a message prefix, all we do is like we can do fmt fprintf, and then to the connection we basically write the message ping. Let's look at the exact thing here, right? So this is ping space colon tmi twitch .tv. I'm not sure if there is any sort of like whether there's a sort of validation on if this was received and the server will sort of continue running, because there's a recognition of that from the Twitch servers, or if that's the way IRC works. I don't really know about that, but yeah, we'll figure it out. I think as such the documentation doesn't really talk about that, that you might get a response back. So let's sort of figure it out ourselves. We also need to deal with commands, so I think we can do a lot today. So let's just do that. Let's deal with the Pong thing first. I think we can, while it runs, we can look at the logs. And let's also, before doing that, let's start our server, the team session. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. So this would be go run main.go. Okay. This does require my environment variables, so let's do this, run this. Okay, so this is running. Just to check, it's me sending message to the chat. I think it went there. By the way, I did notice that with the Twitch window open, the colors do get sort of they do get changed, but I think it's still not too bad. It sort of matches my terminal theme, so that's actually kind of good. But yeah, it does sort of disrupt the way it actually looks. Okay, so while it's running, right, so I think what we can do next is let's open one more window here, and then in here let's do a tail-f on logs for today's logs. It's so let's see, right, let me send back a message. So let's do bytes ls. So let's see if we get, okay, bytes ls won't work because I don't have the server running, right? So let me just send a message through this chat. Let's first open this window. So let's say h, yeah, we get a message here, and let's look at the tail here. So we get a h here as well. So I think this is fine. We'll just wait for Pong. Meanwhile, let's look at what kind of refactoring we can continue doing on this, right? So we do have a bunch of things that we want to do. So let's start with main. This is fine, although I think this should be handled in the same place where we will be figuring out because I want to move the whole saving messages to a log file in a different package. At least I think we have a write package, a write message thing going on here. So I think we can rename it to sort of create logs or logs. Logs I think would be a problem because there's a log package in Go. But yeah, I basically want this to move there. So that's one thing. This is figured out in a way. Then yeah, this will also move with this bit. Yeah, we would need a reference to the file, but I think this can be returned from the package. What else? So then we have the messages. So we'll have the message chan, and we will have I think the parser should basically take in the messages, and also the message chan should be invoked from the parser itself rather than us sort of passing it messages. parser chan should basically just take in the connection, which is fine. It takes the connection for reading only, and then it sort of gives us back multiple channels, and of those channels we can read off of them and do like either writing to the file or separating out commands, doing response to ping and all of that. So I think that is something we can do. I'm just waiting for the pong here, the ping pong response. But yeah, I think like it's fine if we meanwhile figure out the write message bit. So write message doesn't do anything right now, which is good. So we'll just empty out everything in here. Right, so this is what it would look like, and then let's open up the main.go. right, so the way I want it to work is this is basically just writing messages as logs. So I think like let's also rename this. So let's rename this to, let's just call it logs. Yeah, let's do logs for now. This would also be renamed to logs. Let's close this window out and then open. Is this not renamed? Let's open it again. I think it should be renamed. Yeah, I don't think it was. So if I want to rename this, okay, I see. This is logs. No, okay, we already have a logs directory, so that wouldn't work. But we can sort of figure it out. Okay, that's fine. Let's rename this to M for now. Rename this to logs, right? And this is our logs file. So the package would also be called logs. Same thing over here. Although the L should be capital in this case. Let's quickly take a look if we got the message. We got the ping here, right? So I'm not sure if Iggy responded. I think we should have done something like some logging in there. Okay, let's do that. Let's go over here. Let's go to, first of all, main. So logs would be named to M temporarily, or let's think of a better name and do it in one go. So it would be called logs was the better name, I think, here. What's there in logs? Nothing. So we can delete this. We have store, right? So store, this is what it looks like. So we'll just rename the package to be store, and in this case this can again be logs, which is what we want. Now the thing I want to handle is in parser. We can just do like fmt.println, or maybe just do it up here, do like a yeah, this is confusing. If it wrote to the connection, right, like it should have, yeah, but we didn't write to the view table. Okay, so do like a println responded to ping with pong. I think this should be fine. Let's do it after this. Let's go to 1, stop this, do a, you see, restarting it should be fine. So yeah, I think like this will again get invoked in 5 minutes. So meanwhile we can continue our refactoring. So this is our parser, this is fine. I think we want to go to store, right, and then store, and we open the main.go file. Okay, now on the init of this package, we want to run this init method, or init function rather. So we do all the logging and all of that. This is, I want to open the store file. Okay, so we have the init function. The next thing we want to do is we want to create the file, right? So let's create a function, or let's copy this over. We'll call it func create log file, right? Let's paste this, let's close the function. This would return the file. The only concern is that, like, after this function is done, I think it will close it, I think, which isn't what we want. But yeah, let's try it out before I sort of move it to as a package level variable. So this would be os dot file, but as a pointer to the file, right? I think that should be fine. Yeah, this looks fine. Or maybe when we use it we call it, but yeah, let's keep it there for a second. So this is all we need to do, right? Like oh no, not really, not all we need to do, because the storing part is actually not really related to this, right? Like this is just creating the file and the directory, that's all. The storing part will be part of the parser, or the thing that sort of pulls in the messages. So none of this has to deal with this. And maybe I think this is the name store doesn't really make sense, but okay, let's go ahead with this for a bit. So we'll do like create a log file, and we'll just return this. I think like this gives us back a file, right? So we'll just say star.os.file. I think that should be fine. So in this case, if we go ahead and come over here, we can get rid of at least this bit, right? And then also get rid of the init method altogether. And what we'll do is, in this case, we'll just invoke this thing called store. This gives us back a log store. Yeah, this is getting quite meta with 3 stores. So I think like let's rename this to I think this is fine. Log messages is more means what exactly what we want to do here. So this would be called log, right? And then what we do here is, in that case, we just do a log.write message, log.write string. I think this should continue working. Let's give it a go here. Also considering, right, like all we are doing is just, I think we can just do this because this method just does a create log file, right? Although I think it would be good if we can pass this thing messages, and then sort of it can write to it. So it can get a message, and it can also get a, where does this log come from? So this log came in from what was it called earlier? f.write string. Okay, so I think what should ideally happen is we should just get a message, right? We don't need to return anything, right? We just pass it a message and it will store it, right? So if I do something like this, this will give me a log file, right? So I have a log file. Create a log file doesn't require any parameters. I just get a file in here, and then what I do is I do like a log file dot write string, and then to this I pass message, right? So something like this, and then we do error handling here as well. We'll just copy this over to this line, and then the message hasn't been typed, so we'll say like it's a string. So I think that should be good. It's talking about errors which we are not returning in this case. The reason being that the error would come from this part. So we'll just do a quick error check, and I think that should be it. This should be log.fatal_ln. I do want to sort of return errors rather than doing logs, but I think like that will come in later. For now this is good enough. So yeah, I think we can just get rid of this bit, get rid of everything till this part, and this would be called yeah, we don't even need to do this. We just do store.log messages, pass it a string, and that's it. I think like this got sort of cleaned up pretty nicely, and the responsibilities are also sort of spread out to various parts. Okay, let's see. Okay, moving on. What else can we handle right now, right? So but yeah, before doing any of that, yeah, we got a ping here, but I don't think we responded back. Okay, no, responded to ping with a pong. Okay, here it says it did that. Let's close the application. I'm not sure anything updated on this log file though. So okay, let's check. Let's work cat on logs and logs for today. So there was a ping. I think we did respond to it because we never said like sort of we never wrote to the connection as such, so I don't think it will respond or it will add more details to that. So that's fine. I think let's go ahead, start the server, and also just like tail the logs as well. Okay, so let's see, like let me send a message here, see if that comes in and it gets a return. So it's not showing up here. So what is the application running? Yeah, okay, the application has an error, say failed to write message to file. Okay, I think like immediately we see an error. It says failed to write message to the file. Okay, I think the problem is this, right? I think all we need to do is like once we have a file, we just do a differ log file dot close. I think this should be the way we deal with it, rather than, because create log file gets immediately closed as soon as we return the file, so it should be deferred in this case, right? So let's try again. Okay, the terminal sort of rendering is way off now. Okay, so let's test it out. Okay, sent a message. The message comes up on the file, so that is good. And then if I go on the go side, yeah, I can see it here as well, so it's looking fine. So the refactoring is working as expected. The next thing is yeah, I wanted to move this part, this whole thing, and maybe like to be clear, like I think I want to move this whole thing, right? Like and before that I actually want to rename this connect doesn't make really sense, so I'll say connect to IRC. So we'll rename this. This would be connect to IRC. I think the messages channel is read messages is fine. I think we can just rename it to messages. Like read messages is just redundant. This would be messages. Although like its purpose is very specific. It is to get messages from IRC, right? So we can probably say like get messages, but I think like let's keep it messages. It's not like we have going to have like a really big library and where there would be clashes on the name. So there could be, but I don't think it would happen immediately, at least. So we'll go to messages. This is the file. Just rename it to messages here, and then this would be, I think this is read messages is fine. Then if I go to our main, you just rename it to messages here, and then same thing here as well. It's message.read messages makes a bit more sense. Then once we have the messages, right, so we get a messages channel back which has all the messages. Then we want to pass this messages to a parser, right? So we'll call like a parser.parse messages. So parser.parse is also fine, but I think like let's be a bit clear on parse messages is something we can call it here, and then going back to main.go. So this would be parse messages. Yep. So there would be a parse messages, and then there also needs to be a message router. Yeah, this is from Beacon's package. Like I can't think of a better name, but like router does seem like, for us who work on the web, like router seems like the best possible name. You do want to route the messages around, right? So that is what you would ideally call it. So, but yeah, before we get to the router, I think like we need to figure out the parser, right? So parser would return back channels, right? Channels would be consumed by us. So it can be for now a ping channel, a command channel, and a private message channel, right? So that is something we can do. So let's figure that out here. So let's build 3 channels here. It might be overkill of sorts, but I don't mind. So let's create a channel called private, even though it's not private, right? Like it can be like chat messages, even though everything is a chat message. Let's call it private message. The problem with private message is that like even commands are private messages, so we'll just call it message in that case, although it's plural. So messages, I will make a chan of string. Then there would be one more called commands. So this would be again the same thing. And then finally we'll have a ping. This would be a boolean, I guess, right? So I think like this can actually be a channel of 1, but I will not worry about that immediately. So we have these 3 channels. The next thing we have to do is just give me a second to take this phone call and I'll be back. Hey, I guess that was a spam call. So I should have known. Okay. So coming back here, let's make this bigger. Yeah, so the next thing I'm thinking is, like, while we sort of parse messages, we will get in the messages. I think, like, we will probably have like a either a switch switch statement and like a bunch of cases, like whether it's uh, a message, a command, or a ping. Like, I think, like, those can be separate functions, right? So I think, like, let's do that here. So it's a good opportunity to use pointer receiver, but again, like, I don't see a lot of value here in that, because it's this package. Those are actually things that are used internally within this package, not externally. So what really is the point of adding those outside, like, as method pointers, when it's not used outside the package, right? These can basically be just functions. So we'll say, like, is message, right? So it will take in something, return something back. I don't know what that is. And then we'll have function called is command, and similarly we'll have is ping, right? So that is good. So I'm thinking, like, for now I just move this here. This is clearly not going to work, but yeah, at least this main function gets smaller and easier to look at. So that's a primary reason. All right, so what just happened? Where is our primary thing? Oh, here it is. Okay, so all of these would take in a message, which is a string, right? So it would be message, a string, right? So let's paste it on the command thingy, and then also on the ping. So at least the message warning goes away. Anything that's writing to the connection, we'll just get rid of that. Same thing over here. Whenever we are writing to the channel, I think, like, we'll have to reassign them, but that's okay. Now I think yeah, the part between where we check between is message and is command is going to be tricky, but because the only difference is that one has a prefix of exclamation mark and other doesn't. Okay, that's it. I think, like, let's do a switch. I don't know how to write switch in Go, so let's figure that out. So that would be go by example. I do have a couple of Go books. I have this one, the Go programming language, and then I also have one by Matt Ryer called the Go programming blueprints. This is actually a pretty nice book. I've read parts of it, but yeah, it was a while back. I've actually forgotten most of it as well. So yeah, I do refer to these time to time, and I'm sort of, like, planning to do a deep dive, especially regarding concurrency patterns. And then there's also, like, concurrency in Go that I have access to through O'Reilly subscription that my work has. So yeah, I do have a bunch of Go books that I want to get through, but yeah, we'll eventually get to them unless I move to a different language altogether, which hopefully I'm not planning to do immediately. But yeah, we might start, like, looking into other things. But yeah, there's a lot to do right now, so that won't be very, very soon. Okay, so the way switch statement works is you either do like a value here, and then on that you do like whether it's this or that. There is also like you do switch, and then you deal with sort of like it's like pattern matching, right? So even though like the primary pattern is missing, yeah, it's actually like if else logic, right? So that's a better way to put it. Yeah, I think what we can do is we do want to, I think we can just do like, I think like let's start with message, and then do a condition of if is messages true and so on. Okay, so with that, if we are sort of checking the message that we're getting, how do we deal with that? Okay, and before that, actually, would parse message be yeah, I think like, yeah, we'll sort of I'm wondering like whether we should be doing this loop here in this place, right? Like, or should the parse message basically loop over the messages? I think that to me is more sensible, because we are returning back channels, right? So we take in a channel, yeah, we take in the messages channel and then sort of return back more channels. So let's do that. So let's get rid of all of this. Let's say like messages chan would be like a inbound chan of strings, right? This looks fine. It's complaining because there's a issue here, so let's comment this bit out and then save. Okay, this looks fine. Main here is fine, it's called messages chan, so that's okay. Now what we do is within this we'll just do like an infinite for loop, because the messages would keep coming in, so there's no stopping that. Right, and then we'll sort of handle them. I think we don't need to create channels every time. I think this is how we'll deal with it. And then in the for loop, all we'll do is, it won't actually be just a for loop, it will be a range over the messages chan, so it will look something like this. Message chan, right? And now we have messages here, so we'll do a switch on this. So let's do this. Switch would be on message. Something I wanted to sort of reduce in the amount of code that I write, but let's see, just a second. Yep, okay. So do I have frame drops? Oh my goodness, is the stream even working? I'm not sure, I'll have to see, because it says like 97% dropped frames. Just give me a second, I'll check and get back. Hi folks. I just like before I sort of went away for a break. I think I saw that like it said like there was a significant part of frame drop. I'm not sure like if the whole stream was not streaming. I'm not sure what it was like, but yeah, this is something I'll be a little bit more cautious in the upcoming streams. Yeah, I didn't sort of think this would happen, but it did end up happening. So I'm just sort of checking again if it's working smoothly or not. Is it still streaming or is it? How about we check on Twitch? Because on my phone it seems stuck. So let's close this one out. And yeah, let's see here. Let me put down the audio. Okay, it seems it's fine. I think it should be fine now. Okay, yeah, coming back to this. So we're contemplating like how to sort of deal with the case here. I think like switch. This is something I'll have to try out. I think, but in select we can return values and then sort of use them below. I'm not sure if that is the case here as well. In select where there are cases, so I think like the same should apply here as well. But yeah, I'm not sure. Here it doesn't mention anywhere that like case can be assigned values. Okay, let's just write it out. So I think like it will just return a value. This will be is ping. It will return back answer to this, right? Is this valid? Apparently not. Yeah, it can't do. I think like if I replace this with a select, right, I think like then it would work. Yeah, then it doesn't complain here, which is, yeah, it doesn't complain in that case. It's just with switch that it wouldn't work. So the way we can do it is that if it's a ping message, so all it has to do is it has to return a ping. It has a prefix or not, right? So what we can do is we can refactor it a little bit here to just return this thing. All right. So this is our ping, and then it will return a true or false. So if it is a ping, why is it complaining? No result. No result value expected. Okay, it returns back a boolean, right? So we are returning that. So what's the issue? I don't know. No result value expected. So let's say like it's an answer. Yeah, then it says that it's not. Oh, okay, I see. So it's complaining because we didn't sort of specifically call out that it will return something. So this is fine. Is ping is fine, I think. Let's see why it's underlined here. So it's saying that cannot compare ping is with message. Okay, so I think like the first thing is that we just get rid of this thing, and then this just acts as a if else, right? So this is fine. If this is true, then what we'll do is we'll just do fmt.println is ping, and then also we'll just put a value on is ping, right? So on the ping channel, so ping, we'll just put in true on it. That should be fine. Yeah. So that's that. What are the other scenarios? So we also have is message, right? To this we again pass a message, message. Let's say like fmt.println is message, right? This should be all right. But it is complaining. Okay, yeah, this shouldn't be closed here, but still it's not looking right. What's the error? Something hasn't been closed is all. I think we haven't closed the for loop, so that would be here, I suppose. Yep. Okay, so we have a message here, right? So message, the way we parse it out is either we do it twice. I think we yeah, I'm not really sure. Just give me a second, let me see if there's a better way to do it. So if I do search for the ping messages, or rather like how we do the switch statements, right? So let's see. Okay, just give me a second. All right, folks. Yeah, I think I'll because like of all these breaks, I think like it's best I sort of quickly wrap up at least a few bits here and then just sort of come back tomorrow morning. I think like this like midday timing doesn't really suit me. 8:30. Yeah. Okay, so we have is message. Why is this complaining? This is complaining because it doesn't return any value, right? So we'll just say that like it will return a boolean, right? And just give me a second. I was checking on something here. So we have our okay, I think that's fine. Yeah, one quick thing before I sort of come back to this is okay. Okay, so coming back here, I think so these things, these is messages are doing a little bit more than what is expected. So I think like what we can do is do the minimum part in this function and move rest to the case, right? So I think like, or maybe like do two functions, right? So is message should only check if it's a message, and yeah, but then the thing is that how do we deal with like differentiating between command and message? That is the only concern that I have right now. Even though like a message can be a chart message and a command, I think like that is how we can deal with it. So it can be a nested thing. Yeah, I think that is something we can do. So what message has a distinguished property is basically this thing called private message, right? So this thing, and then like if it has this bit, then we can sort of later on parse these additional values out of it, right? So okay, so what we can do is like we can do like strings dot contains within the message. If it contains private message, then it's basically a private message, right? And we'll just return this. So we'll just return it here. It won't get to this part, so let's just comment this out, right? So that should be fine. So within is message, all we want to do is, or like there's a bunch of things we want to do, right? Like yeah, but then the case gets pretty big in that case, right? Like I'm not sure, just a second. Okay, so moving on. So in this case now we have our message, right? So we have a message here. The next bit we want to do is we want to figure out whether it's a chat message or it's a normal message or a command, right? So I would have wanted to do this in two different case statements. I think like I'm still leaning towards that. So, but yeah, I think like we can't do nested things here. Let's actually get the message body, right? So let's say like let's do a func. Let's say like get message. This will take in a string, and this will return back a string. Right. Okay, just a second. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. Yeah, I think like okay, I see a bunch of people have joined the chat. Not sure if these are bots or real people, but yeah, feel free to say a hi in the chat. Okay, so coming back here, the next thing we were planning is trying to basically parse out the message. So we already have a regex for that. So that would be all of, yeah, let's copy all of this, right? So first we have our regex here, then we compile and get the, let's call it, yeah, regex is fine. I think regex string is redundant, regex is fine. Then we get the regex, so the compiled value, we do like error checking, then we run the regex against the message, and yeah, I think like I'm wondering, do we need to do a len greater than, like if len is equal to 3, because like we are already checking if this is a private message, right? I think what we can do is we can get rid of this len 3. I don't see it being really required. Let's uncomment these messages. We then have okay, I think like we can do something here where we can sort of come back with a so we get back a result, right? I'm not sure what result 0, 1 and 2 are, right? So this would be the user who wrote the message, and then that would be 0, this would be 1. So what's 2 here in that case? Okay, let's comment this bit out. Let's not worry about whether it's a command or not. That can be a separate function. And more importantly, let's just maybe just test it out using a regex check. So we get results back. We say this user said this. What is 0 in this case? 0 would be the whole string. Okay, so 1 is the username, the 2 is the message. So okay, in that case, what we want to do is we just want to return back. Okay, we do want to return back the user of the message, but we also can return back a formatted string saying that this user wrote this thing, right? So which is something like this, like a message here. So this is the message, and we just return message. I think that is all. We don't need the parse channel at all. Let's keep this bit but move it on top here. So get rid of this empty space as well. Now what we do is we do like a get message. We put in a message in here, and then we sort of store the message within this case, right? So we have a message value here. Now the next thing here would be, what should we do next here? Also, like, I need to validate if my stream is working correctly or not. So let me quickly check that. Hopefully it does work. Yep, it's working, although it still says like 1 user, so I'm guessing most of them are bots, although yeah, who knows. Okay, all right. Yeah, so now we have the message back here, right? So what we can do is we can probably do a if else, if, like, we'll say like if message, the first item in the message is a bang, right? So is a exclamation mark, then something like this, then put the message. We could do this, or we could return two strings, because yeah, I don't think we can return. I think we can't do that. Like, we can't return the user separate from the message, right? Like, they have to be part of the string. But then the problem with that is also that, like, how do you process that later on, right? Just a second. So this has the parts where we have the user and the user message, right? We are currently returning a common string. I'm not sure if it's the best idea, right? Like, maybe we create a struct here. So we do like a type message struct, which has a few properties, like the message itself, which is a string, the user, which is again a string, and then command, which is a boolean, right? So something like this, we return this rather than just returning back a string, right? So what this looks like is we return back let's build a message, right? So this would look like something like message, which, or let's make it a capital M. Maybe we'll use it outside this package as well. So this would be a capital M as well, and then to this we'll pass in the message would be a result dash the second part of result, and then user would be result 1, and then boolean would be, let's say, like false for now. Is this okay method, okay way to create a message? If I do like message dot command, what does it complain about? It says boolean is not used. If I say like a is this, then it will just complain about a. Okay, this is fine. The false part is something we'll have to figure out, and the way we can do it is just do a string prefix. Alright, so I think like we can do like a is command here. Okay, let's use like is command is basically like if strings has prefix of message as a prefix of exclamation mark, then it's a command basically, right? So we'll just return this, and this returns back a boolean, right? And then we can use it here. We'll say like let's do it here itself, in the struct like is command, and we'll pass it result 2, which is the message itself, and then we return this message. We change it from string to a message. I think that should be fine. And the message we get a message here, right? So we get a message here. We can't do any of this, right? So what we'll do is we'll do like if message dot command is true, right? So in that case what we'll do is we'll put a message on, we'll put on messages channel the message. All right, so what's the issue here? Yeah, it currently takes in a string, but it has to be a message. That's the change. And then else, we'll do an else. We'll just do like put it on our commands. Oh, actually this should come over here, and then we'll just take this bit, put it on a commands channel, because like if it's a message, then we want to put a message, a commands message there, and we'll change this to a message here as well. Okay, I'm wondering like whether it should be a message in capital M. Let's see. No, that didn't do what I wanted. So let's just manually do it. Or let's keep it capital M for now. I think like we're just tracking. So with that, I think we are handling cases for it's a message, it's a message of whether it's of message type command or a normal message, but then that's always a message only, right? So a message is handled in a common way. I would ideally want to sort of split it into more switch cases. Currently I don't think there's a way to do it, right? Unless yeah, I think this is fine. We are putting messages on each channel, right? So each channel has these parameters, and then we return back messages, commands, and ping, right? So and then we'll sort of tell this function that we return back we can't do like name return, right? So these all would be a chan of message and a chan of bool. Yeah, okay. All right, so this has been refactored a little bit, so let's make this bigger. Like this doesn't, like the signature doesn't look right at all, but yeah, I think it should do the job for now. Still better than before. So we didn't do any of this, so we can get rid of this. Okay, so we have parse message. So let's go back to our main.co. We don't need this parse chan. I think we can get rid of this, and what we'll get is we do like parse messages. To this we pass the messages chan, right? And this, from this we get back three different channels, right? So one is, what's the first one? Okay, it doesn't tell us here, but I think the first one was messages. The second one was commands, and the third one was pings, something like this, right? So if I do this, yeah, I think it should be fine. Now I think the way we handle is that we pass all of these three values to a router, right? So that we can sort of move them to specific locations. Yeah, I think that is how we'll do it. I'm not really like a big fan of like 3 returns. it's a bit much, but at the same time I don't know like if we can handle it in a different way. Right, like we can return a single channel. We can't, I'm not really like I feel like returning a struct of different channels would be like a less nicer solution than what we already have. So I think we are good with this. I think like, yeah, let's proceed. So if I go over here, the next thing I want to do is like do a sort of put the messages in their right places, right? Because currently we are not dealing with that. So we'll do like a router / router, yeah, this would be router.go, and then we do like package router, and we'll create a function called route messages, right? This would probably take in those 3 channels, and yeah, so it will take in this would be like messages, and the other one is called commands. These are both channels of type what's it called, actually a read chan of message. I think message is not imported, so it will throw errors, right? So it's part of the package called parser.message. I think this should be fine. And then the other one is ping. So this is again a channel of booleans. So this is what we have, right? This is our signature, and then But okay, how do we listen on multiple channels, right? Like this is tricky. Should we even do like multiple channels here, right? Like either we have like multiple go routines listening to these channels and sort of, but then also like could we have done it within the parser itself, right? So like I think like a part of parser, which is this bit, can be the router, right? So instead of putting the messages in the channel, which is at the same time, like I don't feel like it being a problem, but then we could have dealt with this here itself, right? Like we didn't need to have a like put it in a channel and then use it another way in a different place altogether. So that is the only thing. But okay, let's deal with channels for now. So I'm thinking that we'll do, what can we do here? We could do we are getting these multiple channels, right? So how do we pass values to different channels, or like work with multiple channels at the same time? Select won't work because select works against only one channel. Or no, not really. Yeah, this is what I had thought initially. I'm not sure like why I sidetracked, but okay. So the way it would work is like we'll get a value in case, right? So in case there's a value in message, so we'll say like msg if there is a value in message channel, right? So we'll do like fmt.println. I'll say got a message, then comma, and then do a msg here, right? Similarly, what's up here? I think yeah, this should actually be this thing, and I think this should be something like this. We are reading off the channel, so this is good. We'll do another one for cmd, and like in case we get a command. Yeah, I think this is actually a pretty nice API. Got a command, we'll print out the command name, right? And then similarly, finally we'll have ping, right? So this would be, I'm not sure if we can reassign, so we'll do like a p. We'll say like got a ping, and this would be p here. There's a complaint here. I think yeah, we don't need to close the brace. We just need to close the last one, and that's it. So what's the issue here? It's called ping. I think like we'll just do a, instead of a ping, we'll do like pings, and then we can do a ping, like something like this, and this would be pings from pings channel, right? So I think we do this now. To use this, even though like we need to do a lot more here, we'll just go to main for now. So let's go to main on this screen. So main here, and then yeah, this bit I don't like actually, like sort of taking these three arguments and then passing it to the next function. So we'll do like router dot route messages and then pass everything here, right? So and there's no errors here as well. So like imagine if there were errors, so what the signature would look like. So we are doing route messages here. We don't need to build the TUI right now, right? So I think we can anyways get rid of this bit, but yeah, let's keep it. I think like we might refer to the storing message part. So if I run this, do a go run, or let's do it on this one here, although like it seems a bit broken, so let's do it on this one. Okay, let's do a source, do a go run. Okay, we are not getting any messages at all currently, but yeah, I think let's check this out, right? So what would happen in this case is, like, first we connect to IRC, we get messages, we parse the messages, we get these channels, and then we sort of route messages. So if I go to route messages, here we sort of read messages, right? But then we want this message command or ping, so let's do a message. So let's say, like, hey is message comes up, right? Let's do bang bytes. Okay, we don't see a is command coming in, so that's a thing that we need to resolve. So let's start with that. Let's go to parser. Where is our is command, right? So we say, like, strings has a is prefix, so the command is being used actually, let's see where it's being used. So it's being used in this place to set the a true or false value, right? So I think let's do a little bit more printing in this case. Where are we seeing, like, we are seeing here, like, is messages there? So okay, let's do this thing, right? Like, let's do a fmt.println, or right with this bit, let's print out the message here, and the message type is of type string. Okay, okay, so that is, yeah, let's print it out. We do a get message, which basically does all of this. Okay, so let's do a print here, let's do a fmt msgn also message. I think that should be fine. Let's do go run main.go. Okay, this is started. Then if I do like a hi, so what we get back is, this is the message that came in. It doesn't print out the whole thing, so it says skip note false. There's no hi in here, so let's do this. Let's do fmt.print f, we do %v, and then do message. I think with this we can print out the whole thing. So we do go run main.go, then send in a hi again. Okay, it's still broken in some ways. So how about we do like fmt.printf println, maybe message dot command message dot message, and then message dot user. I think this is what we actually wanted, so we'll do it in a different way. So if I run this, we'll do hey, so we get is message, we just get skip note, which is we didn't even get hi, so that's the problem here. And let's see what the reason for that is. Let's print out result. What result does is basically just sort of give us back the regex. Okay. Okay, we get back. Are we printing the message? Yeah, I think we are printing the message. So we get is message, which is coming from this line, which is fine. Then we get this value, and we get skip note. Then we get an h here. Okay, so we get and then we actually one should have been the. It's getting a bit difficult to manage. So about we remove the println here. We do like result dot 0. like something like this. Let's restart. Hi Fearlister, how's it going? So the application has started. Let's say hi again. So we get back is message. Okay, is message is coming from here. This is the whole string that we are getting. Then we are getting the username, and then we are getting the message itself. So I think like we are getting all the parameters here. So 3 messages here, and then that's from the earlier one. So I think this is fine. We are passing in the, so the first property of message is, oh okay, I think like I will, no, it's fine. So this is 0, this is 1, this is 2. So I put in the 2 first, which is the message. That is how the message is, like it has the message first. Then we have 1, which is the user, and then we have the command, right? So I think yeah, the next thing I want to check is, let's do this, like fmt dot f yeah, printf, and then we'll say like the message is a command, and then we'll do %b. I think b is for boolean, I guess, and this would be is command, and to this we'll pass the message, and it will check whether it has a prefix of bank or not. It says that printf command b has arg is command. Okay, what does is command return first of all? Yeah, this does return a bool. I'm not sure what the f is, what the b here is. Okay, so we'll have to see. Let's go by example, have those things. Can we have something related to printing or strings? Nope. Values is there, but I don't think so. Let's do Golang fmt.f print f. I think like we are just looking for the verbs that it allows. Yeah, something around this, like the formatting. And what we are looking for is boolean. So this is integers, characters. Boolean is basically t. Okay, didn't know about that. Okay, so if we go to this bit and set it to t, right? Restart the server again. Can someone say something on the chat? If there is anybody there. I guess not, so let me do that myself. Hello. Yeah, this message is a command that's coming in as false, which is true. It's not a command. So if I do like bytes ls, this time it didn't say anything. It should have said something, right? Like a true or false. Let's see, like if I put in another message, okay, nothing comes up in that case, so something is wrong there. It's not sort of taking in more messages. Is that the case? Let's do this, like let's do fmt.println println message maybe, or let's also, like this is taking message and right, so let's go to main. Let's see like what read message is returning. Like hopefully it's not returning anything. Yeah, it looks fine. This is returning what is expected. So currently I'm printing out, I think, all the messages. Yeah, all the messages are coming in. So let's do hello again. So hello comes in here on here, and then let's do hi. So nothing comes in after that, so that seems to be a problem, right? Something is creating a problem. So we have message chan here. We send it to parse messages. Parse message basically is running a for loop. Message chan as such shouldn't exit, but then let's do a defer here. Say like let's do a done here just to see like if this exited by chance, and then or maybe there's like a block, so because we have a select case in there, so hopefully that is not the case, that it doesn't sort of exit early, but then we get all these channels back. And then let's go back to main. We have these channels back, right? So what we are doing next is we are going to route messages. This gets a select. Let's do a default here, empty default, just in case. Right, so let's restart this. Should print out all the values. It doesn't say done right now, but if I post a message, let's do one is called, there's no done called, right? So that's okay. Let's do 2 this time. Yeah, nothing comes in that case. Why is that the case? Okay, so who is printing all these values? I think it's the parse messages. Alright, so parse messages is sort of getting all the values and then forwarding those strings. So we are doing a switch here. Maybe it's related to the channels that we have here. Those are blocking. Okay, I think what we can do is we can call parse messages as a go routine. That way it won't block, right? So, and same thing for the other one as well. So this would be okay, but okay. Yeah, this is the problem, right? Like if you call it as a go routine, then how do you make sure that it returns back values, right? So either you pass it those channels. Yeah, this is why we earlier had a channel created, because we had to run it as, no, in this case we didn't. Yeah, we ran the whole thing as a go routine, because the looping over should happen as a go routine, right? So I think so if I do gd here, just a second, let's see. What if we just do this bit as a go routine? Right, so do like a go func. This is something I want to understand a bit more properly on why this wouldn't work the way it is, or like how do the channels block. But yeah, this would run as a go routine, but wouldn't this function end early? I'm a bit confused. Okay, I think this won't work. Yeah, it goes to default and then it exits. I think, yeah, let's block it for a second. So let's go to main. Let's do a fmt.scanln. This will block it. os.standard in. Right, so then we'll just run it. I think it's No, it still doesn't block. Okay. Okay, that was not expected. This was in Parse Messages. So how does making this a Go func create this problem that it exits early? So this is going into router. I think a router is, let's get rid of this default case. Right, so let's start it again. Okay, this is working. I think like with the default case, what was happening is that like it was getting that default case and basically exiting. I think like, then the same thing would happen here, like as soon as we get a message it would exit rather than sort of continue processing. So if I send in 1, it receives a message and then it exits, right? So we need to figure out why it would exit, because we are not doing a return. Oh, okay. I think it's returning because we are doing a scan line, right? So we'll do in the main, let's do, can we do just a wait group? We'll say like sync dot wait group. This is our wait group. We do wait group dot add 1 and then do a wait group dot wait. I think this should be fine. Let's try now. I think it shouldn't exit on a message now. If I put in 1, yeah, it doesn't exit. So if I do 2 also comes in, and then if I do bang bytes, it still doesn't process that. Let's try again. At bytes, nothing comes in that case. If I put in hello, okay, for some reason it stops processing at that point. Okay, let's get rid of all these messages first. So this would be parser. Let's see if we have anything in there. So yeah, we have on here this fmt message, and then do we have more of these? I think that's it. Let's start this over, and yeah, let's see what kind of messages that we get. So we'll do hello. So it's still printing out things, right? So let's see where it's coming from. I think let's check the router. Router seems actually fine, although we don't want to print the whole message. To deal with all removing this thing. Something like this, right? So let's see. If I send a message, we're still getting is message, right? Where is message coming from? Okay, I think like it's coming from the switch case, which is fine. If I do another one, I do get y and is message. You don't get got message again here, right? So that's a problem. Alright, why is it not getting doing a got message? So is message is message is I think here what is up? Let's do fmt.println message, right? And we'll say msg here. Just give me a second. Yeah, okay, so we'll just check like why it's not sort of pushing messages on the channel consistently. So it's connected. If I do like message here, it shows up, and then the second time it has some issues. Okay, now it's showing up. We do C. No, C doesn't come up, right? Like C, why isn't C coming up? A, no, first two messages it took, and then like sort of it stopped. What we printed out is that what is the message that you're getting, right? Let's comment this bit out. Let's comment. We need the message at all, right? We don't need, yeah, we do need message. Let's do this, and then get message doesn't do any of that. Let's go to router, right, and we can just do a got message, which is fine. This tells us like the channel is still getting filled with values. So if we run this over again, we put a message, says got message, which is fine from the channel. The second time it doesn't do that. Is something I'm not able to figure out, like what happens that it's not able to get messages. Are we not populating the messages on the channel, or is it something else altogether? So if we go back to main, we are getting this channel, right? So how do we validate whether the channel has messages? GD. So we are just putting messages here, and we were just doing got message, right? How about we validate like if the message is there or not? fmt.println message dot message. If it doesn't work, I think like I'll probably just continue on this tomorrow morning. Yeah, and then we'll sort of figure it out from there. So if I do hello, okay, it's printing the message for the first time. If I do hello again or hi, yeah, the second time you see like I think it printed out the message here, but didn't do got message. Okay, and why is that? So this is continuously okay, let's see like how is this called as well, right? Just a second, main. So we have this other thing called route messages. Yes, this should actually be a go routine, right? And then right here, and then also like a for loop as well, because it isn't like a one-time thing. It has to keep listening to these messages, right? So what is that I'm missing? For loop is fine, and then this thing, I think this should be fine. Yep. So let's give it one more go. Let's do go run main.go. Let's do A shows up, got a message shows up as well. We do B, got a message shows up. C, got a message shows up. Okay, now let's do bang bytes ls. Oh nice, we see I got a command. Okay, I think like it's working as expected. So yeah, I think like let's just commit this over, and yeah, that should be it for today. So a bunch of refactoring we did. The application is not in the same state as it was before, but I think like it's in a better place in some ways. So let me add all of this. I think we can close this window. So we'll just add everything over to a git diff of the stage files. Quickly taking a look if everything is looking as expected. Yeah, this is getting deeply nested, but okay. I think like because of the infinite for loop, or the for loop and the go func. It's bound to happen. This is our router is quite sort of empty right now. And then yeah, that's it. It looks good. We'll just commit it saying refactor and ping reply to ping. Okay, so let's commit this over. Yeah, the repo is, by the way, not public right now because by mistake earlier I had sort of committed the environment variables. So once I sort of figure that out, or like clean it up, I will sort of fix it. Okay, so I think with that I can end up the stream today, and thank you everybody who had joined. Yeah, bye bye.